on the business of photography. That's kind of what I'm getting into today. It's one of those topics that's like, feels like the only thing I talk about in a way. Why is there a load of hair on my desk? Looks like someone's been trimming their beard on my desk. It definitely wasn't me. That's weird. Don't like that at all. Ugh. So let's talk about it. Why have I not failed yet as a photographer, as a GP? Why have I not failed yet at this business? Because it's really tough, and a lot of people do fail, but I don't think they do fail. I think they give up. I mean, failing is just giving up. You don't really fail at this. You just work at it until you decide not to. And there are lots of reasons why you might decide not to. There are lots of reasons why people end up having to give up or feeling like they have to. And usually it comes down to money. And so the way that I have managed to weather all these storms is I'm tight as fuck. I haven't bought a new camera. I've bought cameras. I haven't bought a new camera since 2008. No, 2009. The camera came out in 2008. I bought it a year after it came out. It was the D700. I'd managed to book a wedding. I booked to shoot my first ever wedding, and all I had was a Nikon D3000, which, if you know, was their first real super cheap, super entry level DSLR. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they had others that came out before that. D4, but even that was a bit more expensive, wasn't it? This was the cheapest of the cheap. Didn't have much to it. I really kind of want to get one and shoot with it, but I was just worried. I was panicked, and I only had two lenses at that point. I had the kit lens, and when I was moving out to go to London, so I'd moved back into my mum and dad's for a couple of months while I figured out what I was doing after uni, and I decided to move down to London. They bought me a vintage Nikon 1.4 50mm tank of a little thing. I loved that lens. I don't know why I sold it. I mean, I sold it because I didn't have any money. Let's be honest. That's why I sold it. But that's all I had. The D3000 had the kit lens, 18 to 55 or whatever it was, and I had this vintage manual focus, beautiful looking 50mm. And because of that, I was like, well, I need to buy. When this wedding was booked, I as I say, I panicked and I decided that I needed to buy a professional camera. And the most professional camera for Nikon at that point was the D3, D2 or D3. Couldn't afford that, but the D700, that was almost affordable. It was nowhere near affordable, let's be honest. I borrowed money. I borrowed £1,800 from my folks to buy that camera. I don't think I ever paid them the whole thing back because I wasn't very good back then. I also wasn't charging very much, and I was very much living hand to mouth. So I think at some point they just got tired of waiting and let me off. That's not important to this story. That's the last time I bought a brand new camera, because 5 years later, I came to buy my next camera. And by that point, I was back at uni, doing my photography master's. I was working as a labourer to pay my way through that. So money wasn't flowing. And I realised that you could get more for your money if you bought secondhand. And so that kind of birthed that. And I've not gone back on that since. I've not bought a brand new lens. I bought lights. I bought lots of lights. What else have I bought? Light stand? Not a lot new. Gimbal, bought that new. I've not bought a new computer. I bought ones obviously that are new to me, but I've not bought a new computer since 2012. I bought two. The wedding business has started going a little bit better by then, and I bought a iMac and a MacBook Air, and I only got rid of that MacBook Air last year. That's crazy. But yeah, frugal is the polite way of saying cheap as fuck, and that's one way I've got through this. This might not ring true with you, But for me, I'm doing this because this is the best medium to put out my ideas, to use my creativity in, that I can do well enough to get paid. If I could do any, it'd be writing. But I can't write well enough to get paid doing it. That would be my preferred creative output, I think. I love the minimal amount of equipment that you need to be a writer. This whole studio is full of shit that you need to be doing what I do. And I've not spent an awful lot on it, but I've spent a lot on it. There are people who spend a lot more, but I still have spent a lot. Bags is my real weakness. And so I know that I need to keep doing this for my own sake. And I know that I need to keep making money to keep doing it. Does that make sense? That's very circular, isn't it? What I'm trying to say is I have to do something. There's no question about me having to have some sort of creative outlet, and I need to do it a lot. That's the foundations of this. To do that, I needed to find a medium that I could work in that would keep me creative all the time, as much of the time as possible. So I needed to find something that I was good enough at, that was also something that people want to pay for, and that's this. So I have to keep doing this. So even if there's exciting, expensive new camera equipment, there's exciting new expensive technology, I know that there's a chance that if I max myself out and buy that, then I might go out of business. And so I do everything I possibly can to hang on to this business, which makes the creative side the de facto winner in the argument between like, oh, should I buy more camera gear or should I do more creative stuff? And I think I definitely have to I've gaslit myself into thinking that I don't like camera equipment so that I can just stay focused on the creative side, stay focused on the doing whatever the fuck I want side. There's a lot of time, not in the last year, been very busy this year, there's a lot of time that I've spent doing things that aren't what I should be doing because I can get away with doing that. I have gone off on full day runs in the middle of the week. I've gone off on camping trips in the middle of the week when probably I should have been working. But I can do that sort of because I don't spend shitloads on camera gear. I would rather have that freedom than thinking I need to make a payment on that camera gear, or I've spent $5,000 on that thing, so really I can't push the boat out over here. I can't steal time from myself in the week. That's why it ends up more important to me. And I think because of that, I've developed this weird love of shitty, busted up camera gear. Just using stuff that's just enough to get the job done. But then, because of that, that seems as a bad thing. That seems like a negative. But, I'm having revelations here, but when you turn up and you can do the job in 2025 with an FS7 and a Mark 1 Canon 24-105, if you can do that, people are like, fucking hell, decent. And, I did buy a new camera at the start of this year. It wasn't new. It's worse than not new. I bought this guy, and it's got a major crack in the screen. Can you see that? Bounce the light off it. It had a major crack in the screen, which means I got it for basically half price. Now, I have never hated a camera body more than I hate this absolute piece of shit. I cannot stand touching this thing. Even just holding it now makes me sad. And I know that's a bit of a meme for this camera, but it's just horrible to hold. And there's so little benefit from it being this shape. They fucked up with this shape. And I know they kept it to save money or whatever, but they should have never done it in the first place. So, see what I mean? Fuck that thing. But the image quality is really good. And a lot of the stuff that I'm doing that's really focused in the studio, that's on a slider or it's on a tripod, works so well with that camera. You know, the properly lit, properly like the stuff that you spend a lot of time on, lighting and doing the set design, and there's colours in there that need to be just right, and there's colours in there that need to like be distinct from one another. The internals of this, beautiful, but it cost me like 900 quid. I was overjoyed to get something like that for so much money off, even though it's got a big crack in the screen, because the screen still works. I don't care. Like I almost feel better if my camera equipment is banged up. My main stills camera, Sony A7R III. Bought this in 2018 maybe. Been using it ever since. Got the battery grip on it. Got a nice lens on it. Got the little tether jerk stopper thing. It's broken all sorts of ways. It can only be used in manual mode really, because you can't move this dial. But it still works for everything I need it to do. And the images look great from it. So why wouldn't I use it? Why wouldn't I keep using it? Might buy a second one of those just in case it does go down, but I'm not buying anything newer than that. The one thing I am going to be buying, and I've not pulled the trigger on it yet, is Cambo Actus, but even then I've gone for the absolute cheapest one they do, because that'll probably be enough for me. But that was a tangent away from me being frugal, and I genuinely think that frugality, that cheapness, has made it so that I can take the risk, say no to the jobs that I don't want to do, carve out time to do the test shoots, do the personal projects that actually make a difference. I think that has been like the secret, the superpower. Don't live a life of excess, but I also don't live a life of want. I don't think there's anything that I miss out on greatly, because I've carved out this job, this lifestyle that I really wanted. We're about to pay a huge overpayment on our mortgage because we can, because we don't live to excess. And we were in the car. We've decided on this, and we're in the car, and I just turned to Katie. Didn't turn, I was driving. I went like this. Hey, I said to Katie, we could take a chunk of that money and we could get like some really fancy holiday. We'd take half of that money and have like the holiday of a lifetime. And she was like, no, I'm happy doing what we do. I'm happy that we're going to pay off the mortgage way sooner than we should, because it frees us up to live day to day in a way that we love. And that sounds soppy as shit, but it feels like I'm embodying that, like, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I've not necessarily found the job that I love. I think there's a lot about this job that I could do without. But I've managed to carve out an existence that makes it feel like any stress that comes with it is worth it. Any sacrifice washes over me. And I think you've really got to look deep and say, am I doing this for the right reasons? Am I going into this with my eyes open? Because the people that I've seen fail, the people that I've seen drop off over the years, the people who've not been able to make it, are the ones I think who got into it for the wrong reasons. They thought that photography was going to make them a millionaire. They thought that photography was going to be a jet-setting adventure lifestyle. And it is for some people. But if you went and asked the people who are doing the jet setting, they'll tell you the sacrifices they made. They'll tell you how hard they had to work to get to that point. They'll tell you stuff that will make you realize that you don't want to do it. If you want to live a cushy life, if you don't feel like you have to create something, maybe just don't bother getting into this. Do something safer, do something easier. Because as much as the act of photography, as much as it's infinitely easier now to take a photograph, it's so easy to record video, it's easy to edit video, it's easy to put it out into the world. But to build a business, to stand out, to create and maintain relationships, to consistently be creative and not question yourself, or at least not question yourself beyond what you're capable of pushing forward with, is so tough. that it's just got to be something you need to do. I feel like filming these at night has got me like very stoic and emotional. But I think this is just something I feel passionate about because I really want you to succeed. See you in the next one. Was that any good?